Hello and welcome to a collection update and birthday collection update video. So basically it's a collection update video where I'm going to be throwing in some of my birthday presents and some of the stuff I've picked up over the past month and stuff like, you know, the sales Big Finish have had and that stuff in general. So let's start off with the non-birthday stuff. So let's go and do that. Okay, for non-birthday stuff I got Phantoms of the Deep, which was the final Tom Baker story I needed from Series 2 of his adventures on Big Finish. I've listened to part 1 so far and it's a pretty good story, and I'm intrigued where the story's going to go next. Next we have the February releases from Big Finish, so we have Darkness of Glass. I'm not going to say anything about these two stories, what I'm going to bring up now because I've got to review them, but definitely an interesting story. Then we have Equilibrium, the second story in the new E-Space trilogy. Yeah, very interesting story as well. I was going to say something what I shouldn't really say yet because it will spoil the review. Then we have Big Finish had two sales in February. We had the 51 to 100 sale, and I picked up Arrangements of War, which carries on from Project Lazarus, and it sort of tests Evelyn and the Doctor's relationship even more because it was on breaking point in Project Lazarus. So it's interesting to see where this story will take it, because I think this story is a character piece for the Doctor and Evelyn. Then we have the Axis of Insanity, which I think I heard it has some dark water sort of elements, like the Neversphere sort of has that sort of Matrix idea in it, which I'm quite intrigued about it. Yeah, I think it's going to be quite a weird listen, but it's going to be interesting to see if it has that dark water thing in it. Then we have the Juggernaut, which is meant to be sort of a classic one from Big Finish, which I think will be quite interesting, and having the Mechanoids on audio, that'll be an interesting one. Then finally we have Scaredy Cat, which is a Paul McGann audio I always forget about. This is the Paul McGann audio I always just shut out for some weird reason. I just forget about it for some bizarre reason. I haven't listened to it yet because I just haven't had time to. That's why they're in the cellophane still. But yeah, I'm intrigued by it. Then they had another lovely sale, which was for the 8th Doctor Adventures. So I picked up the Skull of Sobek. Don't know much about this story, but it's by Mark Platt, so it should be pretty good. Then we have number 5 from the first series of 8th Doctor Adventures, Phobos. The trailer of this sounded fantastic, but whether the actual story will be good, that's still left to be heard by me to give a judgment. Then we have Grand Theft Cosmos, which is meant to be a fan favourite from the 8th Doctor Adventures, so I'm really excited by that. For birthday stuff, I picked up the second Doctor Lost Stories box that I got from Big Finish Day 6. Some of this stuff is from Big Finish Day 6. And includes the US pilot Dalek episode, which I think will be quite an interesting thing to listen to. Then we have another Lost Story, which was the Meager John Pertwee story, the only Lost story from the Pertwee era. So I'm really excited about this because from the trailer it sounded a bit like The Mind of Evil. So it should be quite an interesting story, and I hope it's good because it's Pertwee, so it's got to be good. Then we have some more from the 51 to 100. I completed the first series of 8th Doctor Divergent Universe with Natural History of Fear. I know these are in the wrong order. Then we have the first Keris story, the Creed of the Croman, which is meant to be interesting. Quite a good story, but in the latter half of the story it just falls apart, which I'm definitely intrigued by it, but I don't think it's going to be a story that's going to appeal to me. Then we have the sort of Cyberman trilogy. I'm just going to call it a Cyberman trilogy. Well, it starts off with the Harvest, but the Harvest doesn't really interlink with it that much compared to these two stories. We have the Reaping and the Gathering, and it's the first Tegan audio, so that'll be very interesting to hear because I'm not a huge fan of Tegan. Then I got Breaking Bubbles and Other Stories. I think this is where you find out what happened to Perry after the trial, so that'd be quite an interesting one to listen to. And weird gnome, so how the gnome's going to be in the story, that's going to be interesting, having a gnome. Then we have a Fifth Doctor sort of trilogy one, which is Cobwebs. I just need Whispering Forest, then I've completed that trilogy, and it sounds a pretty good trilogy actually. So it's going to be an interesting one with Old Nyssa. And Old Nyssa's sort of been brought back in the latest Fifth Doctor story, so it'll be interesting to have that background, as it were. Then we have the Rose Mariners, Second Doctor Lost Story. Then we have an Eighth Doctor adventure, Relative Dimensions. I think this will be quite a fun little adventure one, so yeah. Then we have Voyage to the New World, the Sixth Doctor and Jago and Lightfoot. And I love Jago and Lightfoot, so it'll be interesting to see how the Sixth Doctor deals with those two characters. And finally, this is probably the audio I'm most looking forward to out of them all, and that is the Fourth Doctor sort of novel adaptations. So I very much look forward to listening to these adventures, because it just looks fantastic, and I've only heard good things about these two stories. So I think it'd be a very good set of adventures, and I can't wait to listen to the next two novel adaptations from the Fourth Doctor and Seventh Doctor. Speaking of novel adaptations, I've also ordered Love and War, because that just seems like a fantastic story from the trailer, and the reviews seem rather positive, and it just seems like it's going to be a great story. Also, I've ordered Absolution, so I can finally listen to The Girl Who Never Was, because Girl Who Never Was has big spoilers for Absolution, and I don't want to listen to Girl Who Never Was and sort of ruin Absolution for me, so I'm very much excited about that. So that's been my birthday collection update. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and random collection update as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. So for now, goodbye.